Good morning, beautiful children of God. So Thomas Merton wrote that children are naturally quiet. And Thomas Merton had been in the monastery too long when he wrote that. People are not naturally quiet. So thank you for your heavenly commotion this morning. What a beautiful sound. Is the sound of friends getting together again. May we all love one another. As we begin, I think I see Sarah with an announcement.
Next week is Mardi Gras, and Ragtime Rick will be here. There will be a light lunch in the dining room. If you can help with that, like setting up at 10 o'clock on Saturday, making the coffee, serving, cleanup, and if you'd like to bring something in to share. The 4 dishes are going to be chicken jambalaya, beans and a dooley sausage, beef and noodles, and cheese, cheesy potatoes and ham. And there will not be a cost or a free will offering downstairs. And it's going to be in the dining room, but we're going to set up extra tables in the gym. So you don't sign up, to get a count or anything. We're just going with it. But the collection starting next week is for the LA fires through the UCC Disaster Fund. 6 months ago, we did the one on the hurricanes in the south. So it's the same program. But all the cash in the plate next week will go to that. So free will offering for the LA fires cash, or there's envelopes that can be for LA fires if you put money in there, and for Jan to count, or the usual thing that you write your check with a memo to the LA fires. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Mary?
So this is just a little follow-up on what Sarah just said. A while back, we did have a collection for the hurricanes, and I'm happy to say that we were able to send nearly $1,000 for that relief fund. So during the month of March, after the Mardi Gras is over, we are going to be continuing to collect for a new benefit, and that would be the fires out in LA. So if you are interested in that, we'll have envelopes available through the month of March for that purpose. And it's, there's not a lot we can do as individuals, but together we can do something. So hopefully you'll be able to contribute to that as well. And thank you. And just once again, we do try to keep our asking down if we can. I try not to get up there too often, but for this case, I think the fires were so devastating that we all kind of want to chip in and help out on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Are there others?
There will be coffee hour after church.
Thanks, John.
Barbara.
Ruth?
I just wanted to let the parents know that there will be no Sunday school because of the Mardi Gras celebration. I think they
Okay. So during Mardi Gras, no Sunday school. All right. Are there others? Seeing none, let our hearts come open to God and to one another. Let us worship.
call to worship was written by Pastor Sean Smith, and it comes to us from Australia. Forgiveness, which includes love, long-suffering, kindness, gentleness, self-control, is a fundamental concept deeply rooted in the Bible, offering a path to spiritual renewal, mental peace, and emotional healing. The Bible provides profound insights into the nature of forgiveness, emphasizing its importance in our relationship with God and one another. We would turn to the second page for our invocation, which comes to us from Psalms. We ask that all we have said and done is not out of spite, revenge, and pride. Please grant us the wisdom and the courage to be understanding and change within ourselves for peace and prosperity. God lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire, set my feet on the rock, and gave me a firm place to stand. There is a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise and worship to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in Him. Please stand if you are able for our first hymn, God Have Answered.
Good morning. Good morning. Are you fast or are you slow? Or are you somewhere in between? You're fast. Somewhere in between? Yeah. I want to tell you something. I'm slowing down. Right? I'm not as fast as I used to be. And that means sometimes you have to wait for me. Right? Is it easy to wait or hard to wait? It might depend, you think. If you're in a big rush, then the red lights are terrible. But if you're not in a big rush, the red light can be very peaceful if you're driving, which has happened in a few years possibly. And sometimes at a grocery store, there's someone in front of you with a lot of things, and maybe coupons, and maybe you're in a hurry because you're late to get somewhere, and so waiting is very hard, and we can get angry. faces and we can wiggle around. Or we can look for another line. But it's hard to wait sometimes. But what I want you to know is it also is very easy to wait if you remember. If you remember that love is patient. You can't magically make red lights and green lights go a different way. And you can't make people who are old faster. You can't make me hear better. So sometimes you have to raise your voice so I can hear you, because I have these hearing aids, but they don't always work. And when I get up, I'm not as quick as I used to be. I'll bet you guys can get up quicker. Okay, get up. Yeah. Man. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's get down again. Let's get down. All right, look at that. Wow, I'm impressed. Wow. But sometimes people are sick, even when they're children. They might have had a leg surgery, or they might have a condition where they can't move as easily, and they don't move very quickly. But love is patient. That means to wait peacefully. And waiting peacefully means you don't have to be angry at the person in front of you for being who they are. They can't help it. It's who they are. And if they have 50 things, or they move really slow, that's who they are. You can't change that. You can be angry and frustrated, or you can be peaceful when you wait. So let's try some peaceful waiting here and see. There's a feeling inside of peaceful waiting, and it's kind of like saying, well, this is okay, there's nothing I can do about it. I might as well be really peaceful and calm. Can you do that? Can you be peaceful and calm for just a little bit? Let's try it. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. So peaceful and calm. Okay, how about let's try like not being peaceful and calm and be really like angry and frustrated and feel that feeling because I'm going on and you wish you could hurry up and get to Sunday school and maybe get something. Okay, feel frustrated right now, angry and not peaceful and not calm. Okay, how do you do with that? Which one's better? You know, you can't fix me. I'm going to keep on talking. But you can be peaceful as you wait. Love is patient. That's what it is. So just be patient with everyone. Peacefully wait for everyone. And that's one of the steps of love. Can you do it? What you need to do is, when you're feeling unhappy, is just remember to be peaceful. And you can be. It's a choice you can make. You can drop the anger and just be peaceful with people. Love is patient, and that is waiting peacefully. Okay, waiting is done. Off you go to Sunday school. And thank you, Serena.
Loving God, we come before you in gratitude for your abundant blessings. You are our provider, and from your hand comes all we have. please join in the prayer of dedication. God, only you understand how much I've been hurt. I don't want to carry the pain for another second. I don't want to be a bitter person. I've strayed away from the rules and the plans you have set before me. Every time the memory comes back, I'll forgive that person again until the pain is gone. I have been trying to forgive myself, but I still carry shame. God, I am asking you to please give me the strength to stay away from evil and heal the heart that seeks righteousness and justice at all times. Today I'm turning to you, and I'm choosing to forgive the way you have forgiven me. Thank you for a new day, a new chapter, and a new beginning. In your presence I trust. In your love I live. In your forgiveness I am renewed. In your mercy I pray. Amen.
Thank you. If it would be all right with you, if you are a liturgy writer for our church, will you please stand up? Just a moment. Will you stand up? You that have been writing liturgy. Sisters and brothers, I don't know if you realize how amazing this is. I don't know another church that is doing this like we are. Thank you. I can see and feel you put your heart and your faith into this. We thank you for writing liturgy for us. So you can just feel the faith in these words. And this comes from our own body, our own way as following Jesus. So thank you for this, everyone. One of the most important liturgical things we do is we pray the Lord's Prayer together. It is such a wonderful and balanced prayer. And it reminds us when we get overly concerned with heaven that we remember earth. Because Jesus teaches us to pray, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Because some churches are just about getting to heaven, almost like earth doesn't matter. And some churches are just about how we treat each other on earth, as if heaven doesn't matter. But they both matter. It's an all and, not an either or. And so in the prayer of Jesus, it just doesn't get any better than that for me. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, earth and heaven. So we follow Jesus as we have in the New Testament, and we have been going through the Gospel of Luke. The reason why we do this is there's called a lectionary. And a lot of the churches, Roman Catholics and Protestants and Lutherans and Episcopalians and us, basically have like 4 scriptures that we go through every 3 years. So take 52 weeks and multiply that by 4 and then multiply that by 3, and that's how many scriptures there are. Across the street, they'll read all 4 scriptures every Sunday. Here we have a simpler life. We just pick one of the 4 and try to look at it more deeply. The idea is try to hit one nail 3 times hard as opposed to 4 nails. So that's the idea of how we do things here. Are you ready to listen to today's scripture? It comes from the words of Jesus in the Gospel of Luke. And I will say that Jesus is a very serious Savior and asks for a lot. Jesus asks for everything. Jesus gave everything, and Jesus asked for everything. Some of the things that Jesus asks for today and invites us to do are not easy, but he asked for them just the same. And we could say to Jesus, not now, Jesus, maybe later, when my mood is better, or when things are easier, or or when I'm older and wiser, but it doesn't seem like I'm getting wiser when I'm getting older. It just seems like I'm getting slower. So this is for now. This is what Jesus says. But I say to you who are listening, love your enemies. He really did say that. This is in the Gospel of Luke. He also says it in Matthew. But I say to you who are listening, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. So don't repay evil for evil, but try to be better. Try to raise things up. It says, bless those who curse you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. All right. If anyone strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. So what is happening here in this first section is a little historical context, is they were under Roman occupation. They had lost their ability to have their own government, and the government was imposed on them with, Pontius Pilate, and so they were an occupied country, and the idea is that someone might even say a Roman soldier might slap you on the cheek, and the idea is that they would give you a backhanded slap, which is just like you're nothing, slap. And then the idea of turning the other cheek is like, say, go ahead and hit me with the other side of your hand. So the meaning of that, from what I've read, and I'm not an ancient Roman or ancient Judean, so I only go by what I've studied, is that, in a sense, Jesus is saying to people who have no power, stand up for yourselves and ask them to treat you as an equal, which is to slap you like they would someone who was their equal, as opposed to this kind of slap. So the idea is possibly, it certainly is that you don't repay evil for evil, but he's even saying, stand up for yourself, but you can't fight back because, they got swords and a whole bunch of people and they're just going to make more trouble, but at least stand up tall and say, yeah, go ahead, hit me again, but hit me on the other cheek. That could be what that means. Incidentally, during the time that Jesus is arrested, there is a gospel story where he is slapped. And what does Jesus do? He says to the person who slapped him, he says, why did you hit me? He says, tell me what I did wrong, and if I did nothing wrong, then why did you hit me? So he didn't hit him back, but he asked him to explain himself. So that's an example of him actually, in some ways, turning the cheek, if you will. And then he says, from anyone who takes away your coat, do not withhold even your shirt. And the idea of that might be to shame someone if they take your coat from you, say, well, take everything and just be naked. And to embarrass them in their greed. That could be that. Give to everyone who asks of you, and if anyone takes what is yours, do not ask for it back again. This could have to do with solidarity. Like if you're all in this together and someone needs help each other, because the time may come when they need to help you, so let's all just help each other. So these are all things that are kind of back in history and not as easy to apply now. For example, I don't expect to be struck across the cheek today. Do you? I doubt a single one of us, I pray to God, not a single one of us will be struck across the cheek today. But we're likely to get words and birds. That's the more likely thing. Someone will give you a bad word or flip the bird. And I've had the words and birds, right here down the street when I didn't yield the way a person thought I was supposed to yield, and they definitely let me know. So I may have to deal with words and verbs, and I can turn the cheek then too. I can think, why is this person so angry? Do I have to be angry back at them? No, I do not. I can turn the other cheek in my heart, if you will, and I can still let myself love and forgive them. And I don't really expect anyone to take my coat today. I'm watching it closely. My neighbor had that coat for a little while because they delivered it to the wrong address. I wanted one of these. I spent some money on that thing. That's a fancy, like, wool tweed thing made by, like, a real Scotsman or something. Anyway, so I ordered it, and it came to my neighbor's. And she opened it up to see what it was. No, she just didn't see that her name wasn't on it. This thing from Scotland. So I almost had the coat taken, but she called me up and said, "Oh, I'm sorry about opening your package. Your coat is here." And I went, "I got it. Now don't anybody be taking this coat now." But I'm not expecting anyone to take my coat. Because I'm very fortunate. I've got another coat at home, right? My wife has a couple of coats. My kids have coats. We're really doing all right. If someone could take I even have enough money, thanks to you all, that I could even get another one of these from Scotland if I needed to, right? But Jesus is saying that if someone takes your coat, just let it go. Just let some of these things go. How many times would we do better if we would let stuff go? It's hard. It's harder if you experience microaggressions. Someone may not take your coat, but there may be some form of microaggression. This is more common if you're a woman or if you're African American. Microaggressions, like my wife getting followed around the store to see if she steals something. By being spoken to in a demeaning way. And so I don't have those experiences in the same way. So no one's really taking my coat from me, but in a way, even if someone does, when to stand up for yourself and when to let things go. Often it's best, particularly if you have no power, to let things go. And then give to everyone who asks of you, and if anyone takes what is yours, do not ask for it back again. Help out each other, loan to each other, look out for each other. John Patton in Sunday school this morning brought up the subject that your friends are those who will loan you money and help you move. I've often used that myself. If you say you have 100 Facebook friends, how many of them would loan you money and help you move? I got to be a friend this week 3 times because our sister Barbara has moved into an apartment, and she moved on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Local moves are the worst. You don't just do it like one time and one and done. It's just like little dribbles and drabbles and another box here and there. But I am a friend. I helped her move. But these give to everyone who asks of you, and anyone who takes what is yours, do not ask for it back. Help each other out. Now, please understand that when Jesus said these things, mostly he was speaking in Galilean villages. So it would be like us who know each other here. It wasn't the same as someone calling me on the phone, as used to happen more, saying they're at a hotel and their car broke down and they would like me to come to the Motel 6 and pay their hotel for the night. Or their electric is going to get shut off, or something like that, and I don't know who they are. I hate to say no to people. But Terry Kohansky told me years ago we can't help the whole city of Toledo. So I say that I'm sorry, we just don't help strangers that are on the phone just calling churches randomly. But I do say that if you would go to the church that's nearest to you faithfully for a couple of months, I'll bet they would help you. Isn't that true? And so when Jesus says, give to everyone who asks of you, and if anyone takes away what is yours, do not ask for it back again. It could be that he's talking of a context of people who know each other. So let us give and share with each other and take care of each other without having it be transactional, where it's like, now you owe me. The first church I went to, the very first day I went there, somebody gave a gift. I think it was a shovel. It's like, why they gave me a shovel, I don't know. But I never should have taken it. I'm like, thank you. But then it's like, I felt like I owed them because they gave me a shovel. So they say us pastors shouldn't be taking gifts because people may feel like then you owe them. And we shouldn't be owing anyone. When we give someone something as a gift, if we want something back, it's not a gift anymore. It's a transaction. And so when we say we want to help the youth, but what have they done for us? Well, is it a transaction or is it a gift? Is it a ministry or is it a transaction? So we give to the people in Los Angeles or the people in the floods down in the Carolinas. Do they have to give us a thank you note? Or do we know how to give without asking for it back again? And then Jesus concludes the easy one, do unto others as you would have them do to you. Some people could make extreme suggestions about people who want weird things, and that's really not the point. The point is we usually know how we want to be treated with respect and dignity. We should treat all others with respect and dignity. And then Jesus goes on to say how we need to transcend transactional kindness, and says, if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. Now Matthew says Gentiles and tax collectors. Luke says sinners. If you lend to those from whom you expect to receive payment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much again. So he says, if you just transact with people, you don't make the world a better place. But we who follow Jesus Christ are called to make the world a better place. And that means instead, again, the second time he says it, love your enemies. Do good. And lend, expecting nothing in return. So when it comes to lending and expecting nothing in return, there's a little workaround I have for that. And that is, it could be he was talking about interest. And that is lend expecting no interest. And so sometimes people will come to me and say, I need $100 for my electric bill, I'll pay you back. What should I do? What would you do? Well, what would you do the first time? What would you do the third time? What would you do the fifth time? And so the challenge is how much to help to give, and whether to hold a person to whether it was a loan or whether it's a gift. If a person says, I'll pay you back, can you imagine how terrible it would be if you said, 20% interest. Right? Wouldn't that be wrong? So there's rules about that in the Bible that says it doesn't say loaning is wrong where you get paid back, but it's this kind of extorting. But Jesus, when he's talking about other people in the community that we know, I think he's not even talking about the return on the loan. I think Jesus is saying, you help me, I help you, we're in this together. It's going to come around sooner or later. So I'm not going to worry about you paying me back, But then the next time I'm in trouble, someone's going to help me, and they won't worry about me paying it back, and we'll all just take care of each other together. I think that's what he meant. He says, your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, for God himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful. Kind to the ungrateful. Isn't that awful? The ungrateful ought to get what's coming to them. But that's not God's way. What's coming to them, what never ends, is God's love never ends. So is merciful. Your reward will be great. You'll be like children. In other words, you'll have the family resemblance. You'll be like the Most High. For God himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. So you want to be a Buddhist, you want to be a Hindu, you want to be an atheist, you want to be whatever you want to be, you just go right on ahead. But if you want to follow Jesus Christ, just imagine that it looks like being kind to the ungrateful. It actually just looks like being kind all the time. Because love is patient, love is kind. So we're called to be loving people in this world. Be merciful just as God is merciful. And then he says, don't judge. And when he says don't judge, I think he's not referring to just don't read the label, don't check the prices, don't be fooled twice. I think he's talking about this poisonous attitude that we can bear towards others. For example, in Luke 12:57, he says, why don't you judge for yourselves what is right? So there's such a thing as discernment and judging, but there's also this poisonous attitude where we're constantly looking at what's wrong with other people and judging them for it, or even sometimes what's right with other people. The wonderful saying from long ago was the miserable position is somebody is having fun somewhere and shouldn't be. Why be so mean? What's the point in being so mean? What's the point in being so judgmental? What's the game here? Can't we be kind? Can't we consider that people may have deficits? That they weren't raised right? That they didn't get a good education? That they have some other deficit? Can we not face that we ourselves have deficits? There's none of us that have done as well as we could have done. There's none of us that have been a straight stick in the forest. There's none of us who are without sin. There's none of us who are without faults and failures. And this is why in the liturgy is so true about we remember the things we've done and that our need for forgiveness again and again and cleansing and our need to be forgiving and non-judgmental towards others. So do not judge and you will not be judged. Do not condemn and you will not be condemned. Forgive and you will be forgiven. So Jesus wants us to be non-judgmental, non-condemning, full of forgiveness, and giving, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, and be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. It's like what goes around comes around. God says so. So Jesus is saying, you do good things, you will not regret that. Now, does it work? Maybe not. It didn't really work for Jesus right away. He was betrayed. He was tortured. He was killed. So it's not like this is a way to get ahead and, make a big house and be successful. This is a way to be spiritually successful. He was betrayed by Judas. He was tortured on the cross, and he was abandoned by his followers, and he died. But God vindicated him in the end with the resurrection and the ascension. And so the lesson is not that if we do these things, it will work. The thing is, if you do these things, you are like a child of God and you're doing what's right. And in the end, it'll work. So, brothers and sisters, may you have an ordinary day. May no one slap you on the cheek or take your coat. May no one ask you to loan them something that you don't want to loan. I loaned my backpack one time to someone who needed it or wanted to use it. They beat the heck out of that thing. It was returned to me in worse shape in like one weekend than 5 or 6 years of me carrying it around. It's like, what did they do? Throw it off a cliff on purpose? What on earth? Okay, may no one slap you. May no one take your coat. May no one ask you for something that you don't want to give. Love your enemies. And the probability is that when you get home, your home is still going to be there and nobody broke into it. Knock on wood, right? Praise to God, right? And so the thing of, I can't love my enemy because what if somebody breaks into my door with a gun and attacks me and my family in my bedroom at night, right? Right? Can't love them, right? Okay, fine, you get a pass on that. But if that doesn't happen to you today, the worst you're going to probably get is the word and the bird. Love that person. Do that. Because probably, thanks be to God, we will not be led into temptation today, but we will be delivered from evil. And we will have ordinary acts of kindness asked of us. Nothing too deep and difficult for us. Can we do it? You bet we can. If we remember. If we remember that we are here to follow Jesus, and this is what following Jesus looks like. It looks like patient waiting. It looks like kindness. It looks like not being envious. It looks like not taking into account a wrong suffered. It looks like loving the ungrateful like God does.
And all God's people say, Amen. Take care, Kevin. Good day, sir.